Good evening here, whole wide world. I had got the YouTube channel, and I was talking about these slides that I make all the time for fishing poles or whatever you can make. Uh, you can use them for lots of stuff, but I wanted to give you the demonstration because I talk about all the time, and I actually wanted to give you a demonstration. First, you need you a little piece of paracord, however big that you want to make the piece. It doesn't really matter. I actually have this hank here that I rolled up already, and it's approximately, uh, if you put your arms out, it's spread wide here, you can't really see that, but from the tip of my middle finger to the top of my middle finger on this other hand, straight across, believe it or not, is almost as tall as I am high. I've measured this before, so I'm saying this for your help. That's about 6 foot from finger to finger. I've measured it. And so I do that twice, and that gives me approximately 12, maybe about 11 and a half, somewhere in that area. And so I then roll this up, and I'm going to carry it. It's my everyday carry because you use cord for everything. I have that I carry. I carry my pocket knife always, of whatever variety that I'm carrying. And I always carry my uh, lighter with the duct tape on it, which works for obviously many purposes. The duct tape can fix patches and holes inside of there. You can use it for fire tinder. The lighter, obviously, you can use it to start a fire, which is very, very important if you're in any type of situation. Might not be a survival situation. Maybe you need to light some threads or whatever. I did that on purpose to light a button thread, or to burn a thread off of the end of here so those things don't get caught and then rip out a seam. I do it lots of times to my shoestrings. If there's something on my shoe, I'll light those waxy threads, and then you can lick your thumb and touch it. And if you're of a mind to, and if you had I've done it many times. Maybe you don't want to do that to your own, but just some uses that you can use it for. Starting a fire in the backyard, lighting the grill. If you're out in the woods, lots of different stuff that you can do with it. I also carry in my go bag. I carry Gorilla Glue, and I don't want to make this too long, but lots of things that I usually have on me or with me. The Gorilla Glue, obviously, that's in my bag, but on my person, and sometimes I'll just take a hike and I carry a couple bottles of water. Then you can use this slide that I'm getting ready to show you, and a way to put that onto your belt so you have a free hand, or whatever you want to do with it. I have one on my tackle box that I slide it up, and it holds that. I use them for my fishing poles, to hold my hankies in a bundle. Anything you want to hold in a bundle or tight together, anything, whatever. Sky's the limit with this. But anyway, so I take a piece of cordage, and I'll measure it up, like loop it, however big that I want it, just like I showed you. That's how I already got my prepared piece here. And then I'll take it, and when we'll use this as an example. When I take my two ends, I'll make sure that it gets the twist out of it, because the twist will be a little bit of a problem, which I'll explain to you in a minute. When you begin to put your other thing on there, you want the cordage nice and even, what I call dress right dress, nice and smooth. And so when you do that, you'll take it, I bring it like this, and I'm just keeping the cordage together, side by side, when you put it through the one hole, and then you just pull that nice and easy, keeping the knot nice and even up, and I'll show you this when I get done here. And it keeps you want try to keep the twist out of it, because you're going to be trying to get that side by side. So you just got a nice, I apologize for the light, but I hope that's visible enough. So that's that part. Now I'm actually going to use that piece. I've made the one that I want my slide to be this long for what I'm using it for, because I'm going to use it to put around that hank of cordage right here that I got, that's 12 foot, give or take a couple inches, and then I'm going to use this to cinch that all down so I can carry it in my pocket, and it's all knotted up, and it's nice and neat in my pocket. And so I'm going to show you this is what I call, from my many experiences of making it, some people call it like a square knot or a cobra stitch. And so I'm going to start out, like I said, you want that dress right dress. I made this piece, and I'm going to lay it down here, and I'm going to put the down so you can see it better, and I'll move this other cord out of the way so I ain't getting in the way of everything here, so you don't get your eyes on all that. Then I'm going to take this particular piece of cord, and I want to leave that here, and I'm going to put this on top of it So that's behind it. That's how I always start this out every single time that I'm starting this knot. This is how I start it. Now, if you're left-handed, you might start opposite on the other side. But the first thing you're going to do is you're going to put that, I'm going to try to make it nice and simplistic. And actually, I'm going to hold it in my hand to get the first one started. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to explain it again. So basically all I did, and now I want to keep that dress right dress. I'm going to do this for your example. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to explain it. That's partly for me and you because it's been 1 second since I made one. But now you can see that you got the straight piece and it looks like it's just tied on there in a knot. So now I'm going to undo that and then I'm going to do it again one more time. And just try to make it to where you can see it a little easier. I come over the top of that. This ends here, then I'm going to take this end. I go over the top of that and I go behind everything and bring that up through that tag end on that side. And it's basic. I'm going to leave that set right there for 1 second so you can see that better on camera. Tighten it down a little. And you just made like a knot on there. Now I'm going to pull it nice and snuggy on it. Get that straightened out. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to really give it a good tug to really cinch that down because it's sliding on the main line and you want it, after you get it where you want to dress and everything, then you kind of snug that. Now here comes the important part. If you look at that, I'm going to lift it up so you can see it. It's got like the knot or the high spot on this side, on the right hand, my right hand side. And so now when I start, that's the side I start with, meaning that's the side I stick over the top to start with next. It's all the way over the line. So I'm going to come over that tag end that's sticking out. I'm going to go all the way under and back up through the hole that was on that side. And I'm going to pull that again. Now you're going to see something. Let me get this dressed up here. You got to twist it a little bit to get started. Once you get this first and the second knot going, it goes a lot better. I really want to dress that up. And remember now I said that humpy knot that's on the top, or node, whatever you want to call it, is now on that side. And so now I start with that side, and I bring that tag end over. Then I bring that one, it goes over that tag end, and then, try to get that, let me do that again. It goes over that and behind it, and up through that hole on the other side. Then I grab them and pull it tight again. Now here's where it starts to line up, and I apologize for the lighting. I'll look at this after I'm done and make sure the lighting, but now you're going to see that humpy node spot I was talking about pop back on that side again, on the opposite side. And so now that's the side I start on. Loop it over the top, and as it gets smaller it's a little harder to see, but then I come over the top of that tag end piece sticking out, I hold it, and then bring it up through that hole on the opposite side again, and then pull it tight. And now as you can see that's starting to take a shape. I'm going to hold it up there so you can see it, and that's what I'm calling the cobra stitch or the tag end, and you can actually do a whole video about it that I might try. And so now again, now that node spot or that high spot's on the opposite side, so that's the side I come over the top with, and I can do this in my hand because I've been doing it for a while. But so I make my tag end. You just got to get it over that tag end that's sticking out, come behind and up through the hole on the opposite side. And that's probably going to be enough on that one. And if I had pliers, I'd do that, but I'm going to use my couple teeth I got left, and I'm going to chomp that down real good. And I'll show you what I mean in just a second. If I chomp it down, all I'm doing is holding the one end of this side of my teeth and just pulling down real good with the other side over there, and it just really cinches it down. And when you get done, or when you get, it'll be, I mean, it's, you can move it, but it's nice and secured, and you keep that tight. I like to just really tighten it down right before I cut it. And you can use the scissors to do this for this last part, or your knife. And for the sake of the video, I'm probably going to pause this real quick and go grab my scissors. But if you got to, actually, I'll do it anyway, but I have this, I'm thankful. I'm going to give a shout out to my wife. This is a 420 Wilker with a fancy little thing on there my wife got for me as a gift, and it's got a really sharp blade. And so I'm going to bring that. This is how I like to do it. I'm going to leave, just from personal experience, I'm going to say, and that's a really good knife, just slide it a couple times, I hold it. Disclaimer, be careful. For the children, this is, you want to use scissors. Disclaimer, parental discretion is needed here, or whatever you call that. So that left out, you can see that tag end chunk, a little hanging piece out there, about 1/8, almost 3/16, but there's a purpose for that. And then I like to do one side at a time, because I'm going to go ahead and hit it again. Now what you do is you're going to light that, and I take my time. I just don't get crazy with it, and I take it all around the whole edge there, and nice and slow, and it will begin to get all liquidy around the edge. And I take my finger, I get it wet, and I touch it. I got it wet on my tongue, and I touch it, and you'll see what it automatically does. I've been doing it a long time, but it just cauterizes and pushes it down into the rest of the thread there. And so, I mean, it's welded. That is not coming loose. And so I'm going to take that tag end and just give it a nice good jerk, holding it my teeth on there again, just like that, giving it just to tighten it up a little bit. And that's just from moving it. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on that side. I'm going to take that tag end and cut that off of there. And I need to sharpen that knife just a little bit. That's not too bad. You don't want too much out here. After you see what I cut off there, try to get that up there. Is if you get too much sticking out, then it'll be a big glob of mess. So you want just a little over 1/8. That way when you melt it, and I like to use paracord from Paracord Planet or the military surplus store I got it. Now some of that stuff I can usually tell if it's from the True Value or whatever. If it's real paracord, you can just tell. Same thing. Like to take my thumb, I always have it ready, and lick the end of my thumb. The reason why I lick the end of the thumb is so it puts some liquid. You could probably dip it in water or whatever you wanted to do for that, but I use my slobber there off my tongue. And as you can see, once again, it cauterizes that. Now I'm going to show you. Now you have the slide. It's on the string. And it doesn't perhaps maybe look to some like that's, but I have been using these things for so long now. And the reason why I put that knot in the end of my cordage on there is to keep the slide from coming off. I mean, you could probably do an overhand knot on this side too if you wanted for safety. I mean, if you want to, go ahead. There's no problem just making you a good old-fashioned overhand knot just like I did right there. Then the slide is not coming off because you got an overhand knot on both. But from what I've used them for, and always leaving it back there, you can pull them right off the end. It's not a big deal. It only takes a couple seconds to make one. But I want to show you now. Like, have you a bottle, and you can run this end through your belt, through your actual belt, put it through your belt loop where you want it, and then take this end, and you put it under the lip of the jug right there, and this one's are really tight too, because I gave that some extra tugs, and run that down against the bottle, and you got a water bottle holder, and that's not too heavy. I mean, you could jerk and slam and throw that around, and you put that right through there, and it gives you a good water bottle carrier, even if you're out and whatever you want to hang it. Say you're at work, or maybe you want to do that just to be different or neat. Your keys, you can, whatever you wanted to hang on it. Your jacket, you could put your jacket up through that hole, cinch it and hang it on a branch, or whatever you wanted to do. There's so many. I mean, there's about 100, many more than that probably, possibilities that you could do with that scenario. And so I am actually going to give you the other example now. That cordage that I told you that I was going to do, I measured it out for 12 foot. See, if I think that's too much and it's too boggy in my pocket, then I'll measure it down for 6. But I'm just wrapping it up in a neat little hank. And I love wearing the cargo pockets. My wife gets me breeches with the cargo pockets, and so I carry my knife, and then I carry the lighter and my other stuff in my one pocket. Anyway, let's get back to this. So you just come up with a nice little hank like that. I'm always dressing it. Slide that over the top of it. I hold that right there, and then zip that down. Pull down on it. I mean, give it a couple little cinch on there. Nice little package of paracord. And it's got the all kept nice and neat. You can do it a couple wrap like that. Stick it right in your pocket. There's been so many things when I've been out in the woods, on the trails, and walking up and down. If you have a tarp, that's plenty of tarp in an emergency situation. If you have a tarp with you or anything, you can make improvised devices out of sticks, tying a rock onto a stick for a hammer or whatever you need, making batons and just all kinds of stuff. Paracord comes in for lashing. And another reason why I like it is it doesn't rust, rot, or mildew. I had some in the back of my old, and I'll be off of here in just a couple more seconds. I had an old GMC pickup truck, and I had it from side to side across my pickup. I had actually about 6 wraps back and forth and twined around each other for a long time, and I used to use it as like a lead. When I took my dog with me, I'd hook it on there, and it was in the sun all the time, and it lasted until I got rid of my truck. That was probably, I don't know, 5-6 years anyway. I had it on there, and the direct sunlight, the rain, the winter, all of it back and forth. It didn't fray, didn't rust, none of it. I mean, I just love paracord. I actually have a stringer in my tackle box that I've mentioned before. I took a piece of 110 wire and pulled some of the inside gut out, slid that up on the wire, and then electrical taped it on there. I've had that for probably 10 years now. And even with fish being on it, catfish and everything else, it didn't fray it out. And I know some of my videos don't always have me catching fish on them, so you can make a funny joke about that if you want, about how I haven't caught enough fish to ruin the stringer. But that's not true. I've had several fish on that stringer. And I hope that helps somebody with the little slide there. And also here, I'm giving a shout out, and they didn't pay me. I'm hoping somebody will pass along my information and do a like and subscribe on this. But paracordplanet.com, and also Tying It All Together is a book. You can look that up online, Tying It All Together. Paracord, the gentleman has a book, or several books actually, about all kinds of knots that you can make, turn into hearts and keychains. I actually do a square knot keychain that turns this square knot. You can turn it and actually go up with it, and it's kind of springy, and you can use it for key fobs and different colors. I give the shout out to paracordplanet.com. I've got orange and tan and black as my main colors right now, but they have green and blues and just all kinds of different colors. That's actual 550 good meltable paracord that makes good all those different kinds of things out of. It's really neat and enjoyable, a little pastime. But I use those for everything and wanted to share that, and I finally got around to making it. So God bless you all, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or morning or evening, whatever it is where you're at. And I got the slide in there. Take it easy.